Oh, people, we are here again. Stephen King novels turned into movies. And they let your boy pick. And it's my pick, y'all. And oh, it's a doozy. Matter of fact, you already saw the picture. It's a bit of a mystery. We'll be right back, y'all, on Pop Review Entertainment, Misery Review and Reaction. Yes, people, Misery. Unpopular Review Entertainment presents to you the Misery Action, guys. Listen, I'm your host, the Tribal Chief, Mike Knox. And as always, I am joined by the executive consultant. Hey, hey, ho, ho. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I messed that up. I can't say I'm miserable.
Can't say you're miserable.
Can't say I'm miserable.
Okay, well, in the words of Nelly, I am number one. One is not a winner. Two is not a winner. And three, nobody remembers. What's going on, number one? How you doing?
I'm here minus the Band-Aid under one of my eyes. I don't know what it represents, but if it's something sad, well, that happened years ago, I'm sure. In any event, I am here back again. When the executive told me that we were doing King adaptations, I had to be on it. And Misery, well, I'll get to that later as to why I will be canceled on this show, I'm sure.
Well, people, let's just go ahead and dive into it. Misery came out in 1990. Some of you guys were babies. You know what I mean? I was just starting high school in 1980, but after a car crash, novelist Mr. Paul Sheldon, played by Mr. James Caan, I only call him one thing and one thing only. That's Mr. Sonny Corleone. Okay, he is rescued by a former nurse, Annie Wilkes, played by Kathy Bates, who claims to be his biggest fan. And Annie brings him in and rescues her from her car to have him in the cabin only to hold him captive because she's mad. She's obsessed with him. To write a new book as he kills off her favorite character, she demands justice. She demands rewrite. She demands him fixing her novel. 8 of them, she says. There's 8 of these novels, like the Harry Potter of novels. She wants it fixed. She wants it now. And damn it, she's going to do it by any means necessary. And I mean, just frankly, when I say any means necessary, I mean, she's kind of crazy. So, I mean, if you have not seen Misery, where have you been? Real fast, executive consultant, starting off with you. Hey, ho, ho. Your thoughts of this movie, my guy?
Well, I've been alive walking around the planet Earth because until 3 hours ago, I've never saw this movie.
Really?
As a matter of fact, before I came backstage just now, I just wrapped it up 5 minutes before. You know, I was trying to perfectly get your man. But I had to find a free link and it was messed up. It kept jumping,
I actually told you supposed to get back with me.
Yeah, I was going to, and then I said, you know what? Okay. I'm intelligent. I'm the executive consultant. I can figure it out. But yeah, the links messed it up a little bit. It kept skipping a few times, kept skipping some scenes, then going back to the. Oh, it's crazy. But that's what this movie was about. It was crazy. And when I mean skipping scenes, I'm talking about 1 minute he's in a wheelchair talking to her, the next minute he's hit her in the head with a pole. So I was like,
oh yeah, your movie was way messed up.
And I'm like, hold on, what's going on? Can
you even properly review this thing?
I can properly review it. I was able to piece together enough to know exactly what's going on and why this woman's nuts and what this man had to go through in order to escape that house. And you know what? You don't really see this from the opposite side. You know, from a woman holding captive this man, and this man going through so much crap, man. And the sad thing about it is this story is probably, I'm not saying it's based on a true story, but it's probably stuff that's happened quite a few times where some woman, and let me make sure I don't get canceled, right? Because you're so sensitive now. But some woman's holding some man hostage. And the man's trying to get away. Shout out to a few people's jobs. But I want to talk about it a little bit more in the final part where we talk about our thumbs up and thumbs down. But this movie was every bit the name that came up with Misery.
Damn, number one. The Band-Aid didn't mean nothing. It was just a fashion statement. But hey, it was in Nellyville, not in Ourville. Your takes.
Oh, okay. Now that we have the Band-Aid clarified and we know that just in case it was for in memoriam for anybody like that, I don't mind getting canceled. Why? Because I've never really cared about people's opinions, especially those I don't know. So let me go on to say that this movie is one of the reasons why I believe in equality. And it took James Caan, Sonny Corleone, way too long for him to get that typewriter that had to weigh at least 50 pounds.
Yeah, 50. Yeah, them old typewriters were heavy.
And shout out to him for working his biceps while his legs were swollen with, I don't know what kind of illness that was. And shout out to her because she actually did fix his legs, even though I thought she was pump faking the whole time. Okay, so salute to Annie for doing that. Because I surely thought she put some extra in his legs because they looked jacked up the whole movie, right? And how was he bathing? That was a question. But anyway, we can get to that later. How was he bathing?
Clearly, she was watching and she saw him shave him. There was all kind of sponge baths going on.
She didn't find the Sudafed, so I'm wondering. And the legs always look terrible, so that's what I was just wondering: is he being bathed? How cold is it outside in Colorado? Because his legs had to be sweaty, and with the swelling, it had to be funky. I'm just saying. That's going through my mind.
At least you knew he was using the bathroom, right? Because
yeah,
that was the scene that started. Right, she started doing that. I'm like, okay, this woman might be a little off a rocker. I already knew, of course, because you saw the trailer. But I like
before they came out with The Office, where Jim would always. This is the U.S. version. I forget the character's name in the U.K. version, the original. But before Jim would look into the camera and break the fourth wall, so to speak. James Caan was doing that in this movie because there are many scenes in this when she's shaking the piss that we were just talking about, and he's just almost looking at us like this bee is for real crazy. Like I suspected before, but she's about to slosh the pee when she's spraying the flammable liquid on the bed.
Flammable liquid,
and you see him thinking, "Am I gonna get burned before my only work?" And as a writer, if I'm allowed to say that. More on that later. Chris, what are you doing? Are you reading my thoughts? Get out of my head, Illuminati.
I'm letting you know this is taped, right? So some shit might be getting edited. That's all I'm saying. Right?
What I meant to say was, as a writer, I can understand his pain at that only being his only draft. This is pre-internet, you know what I mean? And it's handwritten, typed up at that point. But she made him burn it. She would have got the typewriter to the head at that moment. There would have been no waiting.
But at that point, he's still majorly weak, assumingly.
I would have found the strength. There are strengths that people have. And let me just tell you something. When there's only one-of-a-kind work, and we don't know how long it took him to write that. Okay? And she sprayed it with the liquid, it was still salvageable. But when she said, hey, either I'm going to burn you or that, I would have said, we can all go to hell.
I thought he was going to light himself on fire then.
Yeah, and
to be honest,
I
have to be honest. I remember the movie coming out in 1990, but I've seen it a bunch of times, but I haven't really watched it until today. In full disclosure, you know what I mean? Where I paid attention, so I definitely thought she just burn your damn self. I'm not letting my book go.
But then again, his legs were jacked up, so it's not like he could have really done anything. You know what I mean?
He didn't even felt them, probably, right? Oh, he felt them. He had pain.
Do you think? Never mind. Anyway, I'll say that. I'll say that for later.
I always wondered that though, because there were plenty of times she was, hey, and ho, and looking at.
That's what I'm saying. Had he given her a little taste,
what I thought. Just break
would
her
she
off
have still made him burn it?
He did not break her off.
I'm asking these questions.
No, he did not. He should have broke her off. I thought the same thing.
Was what hips? This man was barely able to roll around. I was pissed off at him. He's rolling around the house and you could have found any way to get out there or find any type of weapon to get rid of this woman, to dispatch this woman when she comes back. This woman was nuts. She was shaking a catheter of piss, man.
Was it still hot?
I don't think you guys are taking consideration, right? I've had knee surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Several knee surgeries, actually. All right. This man's legs both were broken. I'm quite sure he couldn't do a lot of what we saw.
No, hold on.
Like, I think
you're not giving it credit. His legs were like shattered.
they were shattered, right? Okay.
They were done.
This man could barely walk, and I mean,
Yeah.
you have a choice here. You can either be stuck in misery or. I'm not sure which way was better to go out. Sonny Corleone died, so clearly, the Mr. Paul Sheldon lasted in this one.
All right, let me ask you
spoiler
something.
alert.
If you knew ahead of time, if that was you and you're in the bed and you knew, spoiler alert for this movie that came out in 1990. Chris, this is for you 5 minutes before the show. But if you knew how it was going to end when she cobbled his legs and he became grandpa from King of the Hill, would you? That's a deep cut reference for those who watch this. Would you have rather died than have her cobble you like that? Now, in the book, mind you, she chops off his feet.
Okay, she doesn't do the
no. They did that for the movie because they thought it was more effective. But in the book, she literally cuts off his feet. But in this one, she breaks with the sledgehammer.
She straight Kunta.
Beyond Kunta. Kunta had a little bit to work with.
He had a couple nubs.
His legs like Gumby. She turned that man into Gumby after his legs were already shattered. Do you still go out like a fighting champion, or do you let her break your legs with the sledgehammer?
Honestly, several times, like I said, with the fire, I'd have burnt myself. Yeah. Like to see the pain on this man's face when his foot just completely gets knocked the other way. Mm-hmm. It's. No, I'm good. I'm taking Sonny Corleone's way out. I'd rather die. Okay. I'm taking Sonny
Can we see that clip one more time? James Caan, his acting is so good in that scene.
In that clip. I believe that he had shattered legs in this movie.
Please don't.
Well, listen, right there, we're going to take a break, y'all. We're going to come right back. We got other movies right here on Unpopular Review, more than just movies on Unpopular Entertainment. We got kids shows. We got, just roll the beautiful bling footage, please, Mr. Executive Consultant, so they can just know what they can always come back and watch.
Sometimes I wish I had just one day to feel like a real ogre again.
Well, why didn't you say so? Magical transactions are my specialty.
All right, what's the catch?
You gotta give a day to get a day. That's all.
Oh, no. All right, Rumple. This wasn't part of the deal.
Silly little ogre. Everything's changed. I'm king now.
I've never seen you before in my life.
It's me, your best friend.
Help! I've been kidnapped by a deranged ogre!
Fiona! I'm so happy I found you.
Where did we find that guy?
Puss? Feed me, if you dare. DreamWorks Shrek Forever After.
Hello?
Cujo!
Now, that's a dog you don't want to boop with. Tell you that right now. Welcome back to Unpopular Review Entertainment. That is, I'm the tribal chief of staff, joined by the consultant, and I am number one. Now, we're talking misery. Now, you've heard a lot of good things. Now, I'm actually this question. I'm going to start with you, number one. Any negatives to this movie? Again, this movie's made in 1990, and I'm used to being on here with very heavy, opinionated. I want you to, can you explain this movie? This movie's made, Jesus Christ, 30 years ago, okay, at this point. Does it still hold weight today?
I think what it's about holds weight, and I think that's to credit the author, and I think that's why a lot of his works still sell well and are so popular, because it doesn't matter the time frame in which they take place, right? You can look at any of his works and you can change the time, but it's the subject matter that is what makes it engaging to the reader or to the viewer if they adapt it for film or television. I will say this about this movie, though. When you go back and you watch this movie, And for those of you who were of conscious age during the 90s, you know that there were a whole slew of King miniseries that would come on TV. And there are points of this movie that feel like it was really originally broadcasted on TV, but really this movie came out in the movie theater. It's only until I think when you see Dolores Claiborne, that one actually, which is another King adaptation, that one actually feels like it was made for as a motion picture, whereas this one, it has the feel of a miniseries that you would see on TV in the 90s. And I was very cognizant this time around watching. I haven't seen this movie in a long time, but it was very much like an old miniseries, which isn't to say that it was bad, but it was just, it had that feel to it. Even when you go as far as up to
a lot of Fade to Blacks.
yes, but
a lot of Fade
it
to
was
Blacks.
something. It was just something the way they shot it.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like it was cut for commercials.
I feel like I was watching Bob Newhart meet Dynasty.
You know, and even when you look at Storm of the Century, the way they shot it, the film stock quality was better, or Needful Things, right? But it still has that feel of a miniseries, and that is something that this one had very much so, and I was very much aware of it when I was watching it. But I don't think it takes away from it, and I think, again, the subject matter is relevant. And I will say this, credit to, because really it's almost like a play in that you have Kathy Bates' character and James Caan's character, for the most part, and they're really in, it takes place in one room, maybe two at most, right, when you think about it, for the majority of the film. But there are other ancillary characters. I did like the interplay between the husband and wife, who was the sheriff.
Listen, Virginia and Butch held it down. Virginia and
believe
Butch
that
held it down.
She worked at the front desk or whatever at the police station. But I like the fact that he actually did old school police work. And that's what you would see in a small town. And it was very true to life. And the fact that he didn't let it go because there was something about it that didn't make sense to him. And even when they found the car, most people might have just said, okay, well, he died. But as they said, how could he pry open the door having survived a crash like that? And since we found no body, somebody got him out of there. So we just searched the immediate vicinity. And then we find out, you know, as he does the legwork, well, what about this author? Is there anybody in town who's obsessed? And that's how he comes to Kathy Bates' house after doing that legwork. So I always like to salute that because I like intelligent characters in these movies. I always say it. So I have to give credit where it's due.
Second consultant, any takeaways negatively or positively in your half watch, cut, half fake movie?
That was an incredible shot.
He was out. This one was obviously, you know,
Buster got shot.
Cuckoo nuts. And did not think like, hey, maybe I should watch my back twice. She already came up behind me with some tea or lemon or whatever the hell she had, and then came up behind with a shotgun.
Poof.
Plus, this guy should have been whooped that ass. That's all I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
Am I on thumbs down moment?
No, almost. Okay. Are you ready so bad for a movie? Are we sure you really watched it all? But no, I like what you said, number one there, and a lot of things you touched on and the characters of this movie, because it's a lot of times you watch a movie and sometimes the actors can take the movie from, or let me rephrase that. When a book is written for a movie, sometimes the movie overpopulates the book and you don't remember the book and you don't take from the book. And then it's made to be a movie, not a book. You can, like you said, with that 90s touch on it, I think the day they would, you know, theorize this so much, you would lose this one-on-one connection I think that this movie brought. And it made Kathy Bates famous from this. I mean, like to this day, when I see her, all I see is misery. I've never seen her anything else without me seeing this. It's like the grandmother or the mom from Throw Mama from the Train. That's all I'm ever going to see when I see her with that raspy voice. Even though I knew she was in Goonies, that's still all I get from her, you know, is that. But I thought this movie delivered. And as you said, I'm glad you touched on it with Buster, because that's true detective work there. And how dare the cop, when they found the car, go, oh yeah, well, he's out there dead, and they just wrote him off as being dead. Where's like you said, the detectiveness of, well, how the hell he knew this? Somebody did this for him. It wasn't no animal to open up this door. Little things like that would be missed. But again, it was the 90s. Stephen King was hot. You know what I mean? People let certain things go. This movie got such great reviews and things like that. Again, being newly loving of The Godfather, Michael Caine. I mean, like, come on, Sonny. This is James Caan, really?
Which is another franchise, by the way.
Yeah, huh? Okay, well,
another
franchise. There it is. But With that being said, we will go right now, and I'm gonna start with you. Number one, thumbs up or thumbs down for Misery?
Well, as I said, it was very personal for me as a writer. I felt like I was, Chris, I don't know why you laugh. I felt like I was watching Thor 2, The Dark World again.
Oh God.
I felt like Chris must have had Carol. So I was being pulled in many different directions. But that being said, I enjoyed the movie. And yes, as I said earlier, this movie makes me believe in equality. What do I mean? If you can give it, you can take it. Okay?
He smacked the head shot of her with that typewriter. I did that. The metal pig split her wig.
It took too long. Anything they can do, I can do better. That being said, thumbs up.
I'm going to just say that as I teach my daughters the same thing he said. Don't put your hands on a man, because if you do, he might hit your ass with a typewriter. Executive consultant, thumbs up or thumbs down?
Misery. It's the title of this movie, and it's how I felt watching this movie.
Wow.
A lot of misery
that is
going on. Shout out to the tribal chief of staff who mentioned that Kathy Bates is known for this movie because I think she's typecast this movie. Every movie she goes to
even in Tyler Perry's Family That Prays Together, all I see is Kathy.
Exactly, and that's what people see. You got to keep your eye in the back of the head in case you get a shotgun to the back. You got to watch your feet around her. Don't take a piss. So, it's man. With that being said, did I like it better in Batman? Yeah, I liked it better in Batman. Did I enjoy the movie? Yeah, I enjoyed the movie. It's a thumbs up. So, there you go.
All right, I'm gonna say, oh God, I'm gonna leave that rating alone right there as I scratch my head. Autobots transform back into the part of this show that we can end
also
it,
a franchise you can pick.
But by giving it a thumbs up automatically, listen, I chose this movie. All right, but in all fairness, we came up with Stephen King movie novels that turned into franchise, movies. This is one of the first ones I remember being Stephen King. So when it came to mind, it was an easy pick for me. I remember how popular it was. I didn't get a chance. Like I said, the names were kind of a blur, as they say for me. So I've seen this movie several times, but I never really watched it. And that's the one thing about what I love about Unpopular Review Entertainment is that I get to watch movies and pay attention to them because I have to come home here and give my opinion about what I honestly saw. So for me, thumbs up. I love Misery. It was everything I thought it was, and then some, to be honest. In that scene, I remember that scene more than anything of her cracking that man's foot, which I thought it was his legs that she cracked. Which, that kind of threw me off. I was waiting for the leg to crack, but the fact that she took that man's legs out. And listen, who wouldn't want a man with a woman like this? She got the gun and she got the narcotics. All right, she is a ride or die. She is Triple H all the way with the sledgehammer. I am loving this ride or die chick. Crazy, psycho, deranged.
You love her right to the funeral parlor. I mean, and she's so disturbing that you can't even serve him as a waitress at the end without him seeing Kathy Bates.
Yeah. That's the part that he will forever see her face. So with that being said, guys, this is Unpopular Review Entertainment. I'm the tribal chief, the executive consultant. I am number one. No Band-Aid needed. We are out of here. We will see you guys next time.
It's fine, Daniel.